Time for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time.
It's time for a good old-fashioned Q&A, MMA fans.
Oh, yes, Frankie. Your time to shine.
Oh, is that what this is?
The moment has arrived to hear from the man
Speaking of which,
himself,
Frank,
Ariel
I did
Helwani.
watch, contrary to popular belief, the
Live from
entire
Park
episode
Studios in beautiful
on
New York
Monday.
City.
I
It's
know there was
on the nose.
some pot
And
shots.
now, to
Tune in,
answer
not
your
tune in. I
questions,
mean, it was only the
get out of your
holiest day of the
seats and
year.
on your feet because
And I was
here he
struggling
is,
towards the end, I'll be honest.
Ariel Helwani.
What did you eat when you came out of it?
Well, I think it's all that coffee drinking. And so not drinking coffee towards the end was really giving me a headache. That's what I was saying to myself, at least. That was my hypothesis. But it's actually, it's the day that I dread the most. And like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is talking about cutting weight. And I can't imagine doing that, dehydrating yourself, getting to the point where your face is all sunken in and you can't stand up and you have no sweat left in you and all this. And then you have to go fight. I can't even imagine that. Like, I can't even imagine the state that I was in on Monday and then having to go fight another human being the next evening. That's a crazy, crazy thing that these men and women put themselves through. But I do kind of enjoy it because you do feel like you're very close to the higher power and you're atoning for all your sins, not to get too deep on all of you, but there's something spiritual about it. Anyway, to break it, I had a bagel with lox and cream cheese.
There you go.
A little kugel as well. Are you familiar with kugel?
No.
Nice.
What is it?
It's sort of like a pasta pie, but it's sweet with cheese, and you like cut it in squares. Also had a cheese blintz. Are you familiar with the cheese blintz?
No, are you just making these things up?
No, I swear. You're not
Like,
familiar with
what
the
the hell's a lox?
You don't know what lox is?
I know what that
oh,
is.
golly.
Right?
Cheese blintz. You know what a cheese blintz?
No.
It's-
Is it like a Cheez-It? Or you get goldfish?
Cheese blintz. It's like a
He has to be joking right now.
You know what a cheese blintz is, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
He's
Like
also a foodie
cultured
too.
Connor.
Yo,
but
cheese
you're a
blintz is
foodie,
like
bro.
what is it? Like it's like a crepe with cheese inside and it's sweet as well. Do you know what a
Right.
kugel is, Connor?
No, I don't know what a kugel is.
I
Cheese blunts, I feel like, is more popular than a kugel.
Yeah, kugel is a very Jewish thing. The blintz
Yeah,
could
so
be
it's like a Jewish quesadilla.
I've
not
had a
even
cheese
close, not even close to a quesadilla. It's like a pie. It's like a square pie and you cut it into squares.
I thought we were talking about the. Okay.
The kugels. I'm talking about the kugel right now.
All right. Not
Anyway.
the cheese blitz.
The blintz. Look it up. You'll see. It's
You can buy them
I'll look it
frozen
up.
at like Costco.
Yeah. Exactly.
just,
Exactly. And it's a bit sweet. Have you had the sweet ones?
Yeah,
It's
that's
quite
the only
nice.
one I've ever had.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Almost kind of looks like the shape of a spring roll, kind of, but it's a little flatter.
The image that's in my head is so funny right now. I
Bit
don't
of a
even
flat
want to look it
burrito.
up.
Sort of, but small, like this big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Jewish quesadilla.
like a Jewish enchilada. Anyway, time now for everyone's favorite segment of the week. It is time. No, we did that already. Golly. What happened to you?
I was teasing you.
Oh, okay. Yes, because I did it. Why isn't this opening for me? Sheesh. Oh, here it is. Okay. No, this is the how the hell have you been one. All right, here we go. All right, Kevin Parker is up for it first, guys. Hello, Ariel. I'm a big fan of Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. I loved your piece on the World Series of Birding. I'm looking forward to your upcoming piece. Thank you very much. I'm very sad to see HBO getting rid of the show. Is this style of TV/journalism on its last legs? I feel like you, Dan Le Batard, and a handful of others are the last real journalists left. Wow. Thank you, Kevin. I don't know if I agree with that, but I appreciate it. I was very sad to hear the news. 39 years, HBO Real Sports on the air, and come December, it will air its last show. What a run, and what a huge honor for me. Legends, by the way, like Jim Lampley, have been correspondents on that show, like Bernie Goldberg, like John Frankel and David Scott and Soledad O'Brien and Mary Carrillo and Andrea Kramer and Brian Gumbel and a few others. Not that many. And so it's a huge, huge, huge deal for me to go from an intern on the show in 2003 to a correspondent. In May, I did my first show of last year, my first segment. It's, for those that don't know, it's sort of like 60 minutes. Usually 3 stories per episode once a month as opposed to once a week. And each story is about 13 or so minutes long. And you would be amazed at the work that goes into these stories. And so I did the one on the birding in May. In September, the weekend of Khamzat versus Diaz, that became Diaz versus Ferguson, I shot another story, which has yet to air, and now I don't think it is going to air, but maybe I'll be wrong. And maybe when the show is done, I'll tell you what that story is. And I was so excited for that story to come out. So I shot that one. Then in April of this year, I shot another story. And when I say shot a story, it's like multiple days and travel and all this stuff. Like the one last year I went to Pittsburgh. The other one in April was actually a New York story, which was nice. We're supposed to go to Phoenix, but we didn't have to. That one hasn't aired. And then as of July, I've been taping this other story, which I've been teasing a little bit on social media. And that one is going to air on October 24th, which I'm very excited about. And we shot our last thing yesterday. I was in Connecticut yesterday, 3 hours there, 3 hours back. And I had one of the most memorable interviews of my career so far. And I can't wait to tell you more about it. And so at least I'll have one more left, maybe two. But it's a bummer because I feel like I just got started. And it's huge for my career. Everyone knows Real Sports, and getting to work with these incredible producers and editors. I mean, the whole production, the whole team, the whole machine is just so impressive. And so, yeah, I'm bummed. There's not many shows like it left. I always thought it was the gold standard, best in the business. There's E60, which is very good out there, and 60 Minutes dabbles in those stories. But like a true magazine, sports, journalism, investigative journalism, whatever you want to call it, show, very rare these days, especially one that like really puts in, like one of my colleagues is in Ukraine right now doing a story about the sports over there. And I mean, they go everywhere. So yeah, just, I feel yesterday I did an interview, I could share this. And in the middle of the interview, this is something that I'll never forget. In the middle of the interview, the subject turns to the producer and is like, "Can you believe this guy?" Now we're like, it's a 2-hour sit down. And I'm exhausted after these interviews because you're really like zoning in. And he turns to the producer and he's like, "Can you believe this guy? He's sitting here without any notes." And the producer is like, "Yeah, only one that does that." And then at the end, he was very complimentary. And to me, like, I don't even think twice about it. But, you know, I'm not talking, this is not an MMA story. So to hear something like that felt really good. There's a bit of imposter syndrome when you're doing this because I grew up watching and idolizing these people from the 60 Minutes correspondents to the Real Sports ones. I'm like, am I just playing a character here? Is this really me sitting here? Like, I'm the actual guy in the chair? But no, it's a real thing. And I will be sad when it's gone. Hopefully I could do more of that in other places if those opportunities pop up. But I appreciate it very much, Kevin. Debo, and that's going to be October 24th. And hopefully I'll be able to share more about that story. I'm really excited about it. It's an incredible story. And I think even if you aren't a fan of the sport that we're mainly talking about, you'll be into it. Debo, shalom, Ariel, shalom. What are your thoughts on all the WWE superstar releases since the merger? Any releases that surprise you? Thanks, and glad to see the 10 and the 7 return last week. Yes, and congratulations to my friend Luciana on becoming an American citizen. I think yesterday. So she joined the team. Well done. WWE releases, I mean, it's a twofold question because not only did we see a bunch of talent cuts, but we also saw a lot of employee layoffs. Some people that I knew, that I worked with, that I met, all very hardworking people, and that sucks. And I think I said this, whenever the TKO merger was going to be official, UFC and WWE coming together, Endeavor, one umbrella, IPO, all that stuff, you knew it was going to happen because that's what happened in 2016 when Endeavor bought UFC. And so anytime there's these mergers or acquisitions, there's always going to be what they call in the business redundancy, and people are going to lose their jobs, and that sucks. And I have had to deal with that as well. I've lost my job when MMA Rated was purchased by a company called Sportnet, and it was owned by Wasserman Media Group. This is my first job back in 2008. they let me go after 8 or so months, and that was devastating. And so I've been through these types of things, and real sports. I know people now that are, it just sucks. It absolutely sucks. And is that a byproduct of WBD with HBO? Who knows? And so I feel for all those people. First and foremost, all the hardworking people who lost their jobs, and that was the first thing that I thought of when this merger was officially announced. What is it? 2 weeks ago now. That was a huge bummer. And then you wondered, okay, would it affect talent as well? Because initially it was just the employees. It sucked. It sucked in 2016 when a lot of people who I knew obviously very well from the UFC lost their jobs, and it sucked now. Was happy to hear that some people were spared, but there was a lot of great people that I got a chance to meet who lost their jobs. That sucked. And then you wait for the talent releases, and then the talent releases. And so was there any that blew me away, like the ones from a few years ago? I'd say no. They all suck. Like Top Dollar, I met a bunch of times backstage. Couldn't have been nicer, and a very talented guy. And some of these are, unfortunate because you feel like they never quite got going. And then some of them are veterans like Dolph Ziggler, like Shelton Benjamin. I would say none are fixtures on TV or were fixtures on TV. So there was none that blew me away. There was no like, oh my God, I can't believe they got rid of that guy. Like at the beginning of the pandemic when they let go of a bunch of people and you were like, whoa, this guy, I guess Mustafa Ali was one who was involved in a feud in NXT, but I think he was unhappy to a degree as well. I love when these things happen, especially in WWE, and people are like, I bet you're not going to say anything. I'm like, what makes you think that I'm not going to say anything? First of all, I don't really follow this on a day-to-day basis like I do MMA, but people are released every day in the UFC. People are released every day in other organizations, and it sucks. I'm not happy about it. Don't want to see it happen. I love the fact that there is an AEW where some of these people can go, and I love the fact that the pro wrestling industry, one could argue, is much healthier than MMA because there is no AEW in MMA, and that's a credit to AEW. There technically is no real like New Japan in MMA. I know there's a Ryzen, but like they're not as the B, C, and D organizations. I don't feel like are as healthy as their equivalent in MMA. There's an Impact here. There is no Ring of Honor anymore. So there's options. The indie scene is pretty good, and guys have been able to rebuild themselves on the indie scenes, like the Matt Cardonas of the world. Cody Rhodes did it. Curious to see what happens with Matt Riddle. That's a really interesting one. He's no longer with WWE anymore. So all of it is a bummer. And hopefully some of those guys can go over like a Dolph Ziggler. I always thought Dolph Ziggler, he reminded me a lot of Kurt Hennig. I always thought he would have been could have had like a Mr. Perfect like run. I know he had some, big runs and then wasn't used, but he reminded me of him. The hair, the bumps, all that stuff. What a time in pro wrestling. Yesterday, WWE announcing Jade Cargill has signed with them. And the way they announced it and like the subsequent posts, very interesting. And they're making a big deal out of it, and rightfully so. I think this is a blow to AEW because she's a homegrown talent. And I thought that they were building her up like to be a female Goldberg. Now I see people saying like she's too green, this and that, but she has a star quality. She has an it factor to her. I'm not really sure what happened with AEW, and maybe it was her decision to not renew the deal. But it's a bit of a flex to then say like, hey, we're going to take one of your top dogs, so to speak, and then they're going to go to the performance center. Like we're gonna actually refine them as opposed to just coming over and debuting. And I know there are some people who would say like just let her debut and don't announce it. But this makes it into a bigger deal, and it will be exciting whenever she shows up. So the wrestling game is a very interesting game right now. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of tribalism. It's the one thing we used to have it a little bit more to a degree in the UFC Strikeforce days and obviously the Pride UFC days. You have none of this in MMA. I don't feel like there are any true diehard Bellator fans. There are diehard AEW fans, and they hate WWE, and vice versa. And I think everyone's a UFC fan, and you either tolerate the rest or you're just sort of apathetic. This doesn't exist. There's a part of me that's a bit thankful for that, but there's a part of me that also like misses the passion. Like where's like root for your team, root for your squad, root for your organization. Maybe over time that will happen with PFL beefing things up, but you certainly don't have any of that. I know people will refer to that as toxic. element to pro wrestling. But it would be nice to have a bit of that in MMA. There is none of that right now. I think like if you're an MMA fan, you're a UFC fan, and there's plenty to like. And then it's just a matter of like how deep do you go? Do you watch one occasionally? Do you watch Bellator? Do you watch PFL? Do you watch the Euro organizations? It's completely different as opposed to pro wrestling. The P and the G says, "What's up, Helwani? If you're Michael Chandler, how much longer are you waiting for the Conor fight? Doesn't feel like it's any closer than it was 1 or 2 or even 6 months ago. Curious to hear yours and the boys' thoughts." Yeah, it's a predicament because one second. This is a big predicament because there's a part of me that feels like he has waited this long. At this point, what is he going to do? And then there's a part of me it's like shit or get off the pot. But you've now, by the time November rolls along, it will have been a year since his last fight. This would be the biggest fight of his career, the biggest payday of his career, without a doubt. It would be a massive, massive fight for him. What do? You say, you know what? I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to go fight someone else. No one will compare to this fight. So in my mind, I wait till like UFC 301. 296 is December. 297 is January. 298 is February. 299 is March. Sometimes they've done 2 events in March, but let's just say 300 is April, and let's say 301 is May. I'm waiting till May or so, and that's in a long time. It's September. That's in 8 months. But I feel like it's a big enough fight where it's warranted, especially if you win, your life is completely different. But at that point, like I don't think you can wait much longer than that, unfortunately. And it's a shitty position to be in because even if Conor does come back, there's no guarantee. Who knows? Maybe Nate Diaz is back. Maybe Justin Gaethje is dangling that BMF title. Maybe he's fighting the welterweight. Who knows? There's no guarantee. But I think he's been waiting long enough. He needs to wait a little bit longer. And it sounds like he is. And I don't blame him. But I feel like by 301, 302 max, if it's not happening then you gotta move. And maybe he doesn't have to wait until the date of the fight. Those events get done 2 or 3 months before. If it's clear by March or April, it ain't happening, then maybe you say, all right, we rolled the dice, it didn't work out, let's move on. But now, I mean, the Ultimate Fighter ended when? It ended August. It's still September. It feels like an eternity. It feels like we've been talking about this for a long time because they announced it back in February, believe it or not. So 7 months ago. I think he could wait a little bit longer. But damn, it's a tough predicament. Do you hold on and wait for the fight that is somewhat promised but not quite guaranteed? Or do you just say, fuck it, I want to fight? I think at this point, you wait till April, May-ish, and if it doesn't happen then, you unfortunately have to move on. Slava, hey Ariel, question for GC. Will you adjust your betting units for inflation? Technically speaking, at 3.7% inflation, your $50 betting unit from last year is only worth $48.29. I've been rooting for your yearly betting comeback, but while you may be back in the black, in total units, you're doing slightly less well in total value. Jeez Louise, Frank. It'll be much worse in 10 years when you, Frank, and Rick break off and start your own show. Wow, okay. Thanks, Slava P. Your thoughts, GC?
Yeah. I mean, he's right, but I'm not thinking into it that deeply.
Okay.
Just keeping it standard.
And is he right? Is he right about the math there? I haven't looked into it.
Probably, yeah. I mean, inflation is pretty rough right now, so it makes sense. I mean, especially from the time I started in September of 2021. Yeah, they're definitely worth less now.
It feels like semantics, no?
It's semantics to me. My net worth hasn't grown enough to adjust it.
The other thing is,
I don't think that's correct, by the way.
What is that? Which part?
The exercise doesn't make any sense because everything else is adjusting for inflation as well. So his money is going to go the same distance that it would have gone before if he doesn't change anything.
Yeah, everything's worth less. So
everything is like everything scales to that. It's not like GC's operating in a vacuum and his bets are the only thing that are subject to inflation. So that actually doesn't make any sense.
Am I correct? I mean, I get everything matters, but like, okay, let's say it's $50 and now we're talking about $48.29. Like, is that really that big of a deal?
Well, that would matter if the price of other things changed at a different rate. Inflation is everything else is subject to the inflation as well. So therefore, that actually doesn't apply.
yeah, I can't speak to this. This is above my pay grade, as they say.
Yes.
But yeah, as I've always said, I'm really just doing this for fun.
Yeah, chill out, bro.
I'm not doing it to get rich.
And he mentioned something at the end there, which
agree
I saw a lot of. I saw some of this sentiment on Monday. It's like, oh, Ariel, maybe you should stay home. We don't need you anymore. It's like, really,
Yeah.
if you guys want that, I'll stay home. It's totally fine.
I think it's exciting. You get the one switch up every once in a while.
No, I mean, it hurt my feelings a little bit. There I am, struggling.
Phase.
Give us 3 shows and they'd be begging.
I'm
They'd be
fasting.
groveling
I'm like,
for
oh,
you
maybe
to
the
come
guys,
back.
they're doing great. I'm rooting for them. This is huge. This is great. It's everything I ever wanted is for the show to never go dark. And people are like dancing on my grave. Imagine I
Standing on the shoulder of giants.
I mean, it's just a lot. It's like, wow, Ariel, don't bother coming in anymore. Like, all right.
Frank loves his cliche team saying.
Rising tides raise all
Yeah,
ships.
knew it was coming. Knew it was
Yeah.
coming. Frank's always good for one of those every time.
No, I appreciate that.
No, it's actually good, the amount of spacing, because like me and Rick were talking about it, just hopefully the novelty doesn't wear off. It's only a matter of time before they're like, oh, these guys
These
again.
fucking guys again.
It's only a matter of time.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
So, we'll take a nice-
it's a credit to you, the regularity, the consistency to be able to keep the audience. We're already after episode 2 feeling like we're starting to.
No,
starting to see the
Someone said it
decline.
perfectly. They prefer the full team, the Ariel show,
I didn't see a lot of that. I
but
saw a lot of
they prefer us rather than
no show. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
the goal. I'm not trying to.
There's levels to it.
I didn't
So,
schedule Yom Kippur on a Monday. I'm sorry, but in the past we would just not have a show.
yeah,
I
it's
feel
a nice
like you're
backup plan.
only. I feel like you're only looking for a certain kind of
I see it. I'm like in bed.
comment.
My stomach is killing. I feel my stomach sucking up against my spine. And I see people just being like, yeah, Helwani, stay home. We don't need you anymore. I'm like, all right, fine. Fine. We'll see how that goes.
Well, I mean, they could do the inverse. They could be like, you guys are great, but we can't wait for Helwani to be back.
I don't want that.
You
I just
know,
want like, this is great.
I saw some
Thanks,
of that.
guys. I just want, this is great. Appreciate you guys doing the show. This is a fun change of pace and looking forward to the next one.
I
Why
feel
can't
like
we?
that's what the majority of it was.
I love this. I love this internet that is kind to everybody and considers everybody's
Would be
feelings and
nice.
opinions.
Would be
It's
nice.
I've been
beautiful.
on the wrong internet.
I wish it
Nice,
existed.
yeah.
I wish it was a real thing.
Dylan, hello, Ariel and crew. I was curious your opinion. If takedowns are considered a change of opinion, I think he means a change of position, but perhaps a change of opinion. But the wrestler usually wins the exchanges / fights due to the wrestling. Shouldn't we consider takedowns as more than just a change of position? Doesn't the effort of making the takedown occur count for something? Wouldn't the proper change of position be considered both fighters just laying down and starting to fight? If it was just a simple change of position, then wrestlers wouldn't have an advantage. So I know the big thing is like to hammer home damage. But I do agree with Dylan here to a degree. And I agree there should be something. I don't know what it is, because like, look, we're talking about 10-9, so there's no half points. The whole scoring system is a little wacky. But yes, I do believe if there's a fight, if there's a round, here's a question that I would love to ask a judge, an official. If there's a round where not a single punch is thrown, but it's just takedown after takedown after takedown, takedown, get up, takedown, get up, what happens? Is it a 10-10? Because there's not there is some damage that can occur, by the way, from a takedown. I've seen it. I've seen slams where people get knocked out. I've seen takedowns where someone messes up their knee or messes up their back. So I do believe to a degree it should be considered. This idea that the takedown seals the round, it's a bit of a misnomer. This is one of those things that people online love to get, they love to get their panties in a bunch about when the broadcasters say like, oh, I may have said like, I can't believe he said that. It's like, all right, yes, okay, fine. You read the unified rules. We get it. by the way, just because there's unified rules, just because there's rules doesn't mean they're actually the right things. There's a lot of things that you could poke holes in. And Lord knows there's no transparency. We don't need to get into all of that, but yeah, it's a fine point. And I do believe that it takes effort and skill, and there needs to be some consideration, but what consideration as far as the 10-9 point system is concerned? Like it's all very murky. Again, bottom line, I do believe the 10-point must system is not the right scoring system for this sport. I think it's fine for boxing. I think it's fine for kickboxing. There's just too much at play here. There's too much involved. The rounds are longer. There's just too much going on in 5 minutes for a simple 10-9 to suffice. And this kind of falls into that argument. Adam. Hi, Ariel. Adam here. Hello. With the recent links between WWE and UFC, and also as a pro wrestling fan, I would like to see the Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson match be a retirement match. Would you second that? A retirement match for Paddy too? Like a retirement match has to go both ways for it to be truly intriguing, in my opinion. Unless it's like a retirement versus hair match, then it could be interesting. If Tony beats Paddy, he has to shave his head. If Paddy beats Tony, he has to retire. Also, us people in the UK don't necessarily wait up until 3 a.m. to watch fights. We use on demand and watch on Sunday when we're ready, being careful to avoid spoilers. I mean, I know plenty of people that stay up. They're incredible fans. I give them all the credit in the world. I try to do it sometimes, and it's very, very hard. And they do it on a weekly basis. They're the best of fans. But yes, I can understand why you would want to do this. And what a nice feel. Like the ones that have it the best, by the way, are the Australian and New Zealand fans. You know those videos where Izzy's watching the fights? He's like rolling out of bed at 10 a.m. or it's 9 a.m., whatever it is, and he's getting to watch fights on a Sunday like we watch, Premier League here or NFL football here. It's tremendous.
I stand by Hawaii. Hawaii is the time zone.
Yes. Well, I would say either or is great, right? Because you can make the case that Hawaii is like Saturday
adjusted day.
Yes, Saturday during the day, or is it Sunday morning? Both are tremendous. Europe has it tough. Middle East has it tough. Africa, U.S. here, it's fine. West Coast, Hawaii, tremendous. West Coast is fine too. 7 to 10, tremendous. Give me that all day. My thing is, it's hard for me to watch sports on demand. You know what I mean? There's something in the back of my mind knowing that this isn't actually happening. It bothers me, and I feel compelled to fast forward. It's a weird thing. But yeah, no, I have a lot of respect for the fans that stay up on a weekly basis to watch either this, boxing, etc. Amon. Hey, Ariel, with the impending purchase of Bellator by PFL, what will become of Scott Coker? What is his legacy at Bellator? Should his leadership be considered a success? Well, first of all, I will say I know there has been some discussion about whether or not he will continue. I think for someone like Scott, who has now been successful in 2 places and obviously was very successful at Strikeforce, and that was his own baby. He had equity, he owned it, all that stuff. He got paid quite well as a result of the purchase. Does he want to go through it again? Does he want to just be an employee? Does what kind of a say will he have? There's other big players involved. There's Peter Murray. There's Don Davis. Does he want to do this at his age, or does he want to just like hang out and chill out, or maybe build his own thing? But I know there has been some talk about bringing people like Scott Coker over, and we'll see what happens. It's still not a done deal. It's definitely not dead. And there's probably going to be a few twists and turns before it can be a done deal. As far as his legacy, I mean, look, he took over. For whatever reason, Bellator was never the darling that Strikeforce was. It never was able to capture that same emotion and feeling. Strikeforce had an amazing thing that that vibe that they had in San Jose in the Bay Area was truly special. And then they grew it and it expanded and the brand meant something to people. And it just had this good vibe attached to it. Bellator had a bit of the Bjorn stuff attached to it and the Eddie Alvarez stuff. And it was the tournament and the no tournament and all, like it just wasn't quite the same. And I never felt like it could get going. Now, Bellator in Europe has a good brand in Paris, in London, in Ireland, etc. And here in some pockets, Mohegan, Arizona, Inglewood, they've had success to a degree, San Jose as well. And so, he was able to rebrand it. It had its ups and downs. At first, they were using a lot of the older guys, then they went to the younger guys. They built some solid fighters. But I think anyone who's being honest can't quite compare Bellator's legacy to Strikeforce's. I think when history looks back at both of them, Strikeforce will be looked back at with greater fondness than Bellator. People, like, the way I talk about AEW fans is not, Strikeforce fans weren't that passionate, but there was like a hardcore Strikeforce fan base. The ones that would come after me and say like, "Oh, you're a UFC bootlicker." You don't really have that anymore in MMA. Like the crazy passionate diehards. So he was the right guy to take over. It was a good opportunity for him at the time. They were bringing in a well-liked leader after the Bjorn run kind of ended on a sour note. So, hindsight is 2020, but I think overall everyone involved would do it again. I just don't think you can compare. And I don't even think he can compare. Strikeforce was his baby. Bellator wasn't. And I know he would have, in a heartbeat, rebranded Bellator into Strikeforce. One of the things I said very early on was that they should rebrand Bellator into something else just because it had that cloud hanging over it, but they never did that. 2, he says, I think I speak for all the fans when I say we need to see a little progress on Highway to Helwani. We have been strung along for a long time. Like, come on, he says. Is there any hope of a start anytime soon? On that point, is there any little nugget or story that you would be including in the book that the fans wouldn't have heard you talk about and that you could share? Yes, absolutely. There's a few things. I am getting worried, though, that I'm getting, as I said, a little long in the tooth and I'm forgetting the stories. There's one big story that I've never told on any platform to anyone that I've always said I'm going to save for the book, and it involves something that happened back in 2014 on a weekend that I will never forget. So that one I won't ever forget, but there's little things here and there. I've started to think about it a little bit more. Am I writing things down? Am I doing chapters? Am I talking to people? No. I don't know. Feels like I'm a little too young to start the book. 50 feels like a time to start it. I feel like I'm too in the mix right now. And there's too much work to be done. I never like when people come out with books and you're like, man, you got like 30 years left. And I know you could say, okay, you could do a second book, but I don't know. One thing
Putting it on the calendar.
Yeah.
9 years.
You're not greedy enough. Cash in twice. Make 2 books. And also start writing something down.
I know.
If you're really feeling like it's slipping, let's not let the gold slip through our fingers.
Audio messages. We'll scribe it for you.
Yeah. You're
Frank
do that?
just volunteering to be your,
Frank,
Frank's going to be your one-stop shop at some point.
My whole life I've been searching for a ride or die like Frank, and here he is. Beard and all. Frank, tell me about this beard situation, because I saw you today, and your beard looked fine. And there was a whole hullabaloo. Obviously, I can't see you on the show about your beard. What exactly happened?
So I grew my beard out, and I had this idea of finding like a esthetician, an artisan, someone that would be like, I see something in your beard and I want to bring it out.
Yeah.
And I thought, it was worth the money. But instead what I got was like 45 minutes in the chair of being like pampered. There's the aroma, there's the way they trim here and there. Like they're really taking their time. It felt great, but it wasn't what I was looking for. Okay. So I feel like kind of wasted some money.
Wait, so did they trim it?
They trimmed it. They trimmed it for 45 minutes. But I think in their
45 minutes? Jeez Louise.
Yeah. I think in their mind, they're like, we're just letting you relax, trimming it here and there. They have all these techniques. But I'm like, no, I wanted like a beard, something I can maintain.
But did they trim it too short?
They did, yeah. Like, I'm going to grow it back out. I'm going to put another bill down, go find somewhere else to see if I could get it done better.
Is there anything worse than sitting in the chair and you know that you just don't like it? And now you just have to eat it?
I actually kept my eyes closed.
The whole time? Oh, because you were lying down.
Yeah, and then there's a part where you're kind of lying down. And when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is cool. It was like I'm a new man. And then I looked at it closer, and I'm like, I could have done that myself.
Is there anything worse than lying down, and then all of a sudden they do the thing where they pull you back up, and then you look at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, holy shit, I hate this?
There's nothing worse.
Now, are you the type to say, I hate this, fix it? Or are you the type to just eat it and walk out?
I'm the type to freaking keep my mouth shut and go cry.
And you just walk away.
Yeah.
What about like a little alteration? What if it's like, oh, could you just do a little bit over here or
That's
something
too
like
much.
that?
To a degree,
Nothing.
but
You won't say a word.
I will say this: the last time I got a haircut was in early March of 2020, and
Yeah.
because of the pandemic, I was like, I went like a couple of weeks. I didn't touch it because I thought, okay, this is going to end. It didn't end. I had the clippers because I used to cut it myself, but I didn't have the longer beard. I was kind of afraid of messing it up, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't have to schedule an appointment. I could do this like at 11 p.m. on a Sunday or a whenever I want. I don't have to like, schedule my whole day around it. And to my point earlier, there's no like, oh, can you just get nothing would piss me off more where I'd come home and there were like spots or there was like stuff. And I'm like, what? You couldn't see that? You couldn't, like, what is going on here? So now I just do it myself and I haven't paid for a haircut in 3.5 years. And I'm
Maybe
very
you
happy.
give Frank a discount, let him come over. I mean,
I don't
he
trust
was
myself.
paying 100 something.
Yeah, this is crazy. Frank, you should probably just do it yourself, to be honest. You'd be a lot happier.
I'm going to try it again. I'm going to re-rack it. It's going to be better next time.
Do you want to publicly apologize to your actual barber and beard guy, or is that just like too far gone?
This is like, look, I've already.
That was a breakup. That was a breakup.
No,
Okay.
He's still going to do the curls. Just don't touch the face.
Oh, wow. No, you can't do that. You
That's
can't.
what
He
happens.
wants to.
I
No,
always
because the
feel like
guy's
he's
gonna-
doing the beard as a courtesy.
The guy's going to do the thing where he's going to pull you back, and then you're going to be like, you know what? I don't really trust you. I'm going to go
I
somewhere
think he's
else.
totally going to understand.
By the way, you're going to go somewhere else? That's 2 appointments now.
No,
That's the thing. That's the thing. Are you going to tell him you're going somewhere else, or are you going to be like, I'm letting the beard grow out. No need to touch it.
I have an appointment with him. I think I'm going to come in there. He's going to see that I'm lined up, and he's going to understand. And he's like, "You don't want me to touch the beard, do you?" I'm like, "Nope."
I don't think it's going to be that easy.
I
He's
I think
gonna ask
I will
for
on your
Snapchat
cord.
this. And send
I
it
think
to
he's
you as
gonna.
it
I think he's
happens.
gonna start shaving the beard. Like he's gonna start reaching for it.
Oh, fuck.
And you're gonna have to be like,
I'm gonna
no,
have to bat it out of his
I'm
hand."
going to another guy. I'm sorry.
And then what happens when he says, well, who's trimming your beard?
I'll explain it.
With a razor blade to your
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
knuckles. He's just about to trim it. He's gonna be like, who's shaving the beard?
You need to
so
find a guy
you guys
who's
are describing a barber. I go to a hairstylist.
Oh, fucking.
Wow, this guy.
Oh, so
They
classy.
don't have the
so
street
classy.
name.
It's sick.
How often do you go?
Once a month.
Once a month. And how and does the beard trim always coincide with the styling?
So sometimes I'll trim it myself. Sometimes he'll trim it.
So why don't
And
you
I'm
just
not
trim it
happy with the
yourself
way
all
that
the
he
time?
trims it.
Do
So
you not
I
feel that you
thought
could
you watched
find
the show.
somebody who could do both?
So
Somebody who
that's the
could
thing. I don't think it's
combine those two things?
possible. My
Yes,
needs
my
are
guy
too
does
great.
both for.
You need one.
And you
100%
look
of what you pay.
smashing, but this is my choice.
Yeah, no. Listen, whatever makes
Your
you
beard,
happy.
your choice.
I
It's
like
a
to buy
very
a left
personal
shoe at one store and a right shoe at another store just to
Sure, sure.
spread,
That's how
the,
Frank
spread the
rolls.
money around.
Are you
Have
feeling
you ever seen-
self-conscious?
Oh,
Because I think the beard looks fine. I was expecting
No,
a
yeah,
it
situation
looks
where
fine.
like there was
Yeah, it
no
looks
beard, and that's a shitty feeling because you put some time in it.
this will grow back. I shaved this morning. This is where it's at. That's right
Oh
now.
God, are you serious?
Yeah.
All right. What were you gonna say, Eric?
You ever see that TikTok where the guy predict your next move and they'll like shoot a basketball shot, but like it's away from the rim, or open a door, but instead of going out the main door, they go out the side door. They're just basically doing these divergent paths to not do the obvious thing that they're setting up. I feel like that's Frank's life. I feel like Frank's life is like opening a door and then he goes out the other door. All these
Yeah,
things
yeah.
to just complicate
saying
and
he's
keep
going
it
to show up to
mysterious.
something, doesn't show
Right.
up. Yeah,
Yeah, just keeping it mysterious,
Yeah,
mysterious
there we
life.
go.
I guess
Suspense.
Yep, yep.
Hey Ariel, what happened with Ian Garry versus Wonderboy? So many questions surrounding that one. Seems like both fighters and the UFC were down to make it happen. Was the UFC down to make it happen? I don't know about that. Excuse me. Both guys agreeing to fight on the December card. I mean, we just heard. So this is obviously coming out before the Wonderboy interview, but clearly Wonderboy wasn't that interested because he didn't want to fight backwards, and I understand at this point. Here's the question: bigger fight in you guys' opinion? Wonderboy Garry, Wonderboy Shavkat. GC, your thoughts?
I feel like Wonderboy Gary.
Yeah. Rick? Wonderboy Garry,
that's-
Wonderboy Shavkat. Bigger fight.
Give me a moment to digest. You calling my name was the first audio I received, so I wasn't even aware of the conversation that was happening.
Well, that's why I asked the question again to save you there. But
yeah,
appreciate
well, I need
good
a second to
things.
process.
Okay.
Like you guys have been kind of like talking.
Yes, hey, trust me. This is
Putting out some fires, as they say, in the industry.
I could tell.
Wonderboy, Shavkat, or Wonderboy Gary was what you asked me.
Yes.
Correct.
Which is bigger? Gary, I think.
Yeah, me too. But he wants to fight someone who's ranked higher than him.
That's what I was gonna say. I think Wonderboy Shavkat gets him closer to where he wants to be if he wins. Like I think if you beat Shavkat, I think there's a lot of momentum in that will carry him closer to the title.
Is there a line out for that yet? That particular fight?
I think there is. Give me 1 second and I can find it.
Yeah, so while you find that, Josh also asks, would you give Wonderboy a better chance to defeat Gary or Shavkat? I mean, you'd have to say Gary just by virtue of the fact that he's a striker, right?
Shavkat minus 410 right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
It's a tough matchup for him. It's a really tough matchup. Fascinating, and if he can keep it standing, the big if. And Shavkat, obviously has some striking skills as well, and is a tremendous fighter. And I agree, a future title contender / champion. Tough. I mean, to go from Michel Pereira to Shavkat is a big jump in terms of
17-0, 17 finishes, 8 knockouts, 9 submissions. Like he can pretty much do it any way he wants to.
Also, how do you see UFC stacking the card for 296 between Wonderboy's fight with Shavkat, Gary, Luque, also Paddy Tony? Look, it's an amazing card. It's an absolute amazing card. I mean, the last 3 pay-per-views are fantastic. We are very spoiled these days. And the Paddy Tony fight is such a polarizing fight. I know you guys spoke about it on Monday as well. I have such mixed emotions about it because on the one hand, yes, the younger guy fighting the older guy isn't some new concept. I get that. The guy on the winning streak fighting the guy on the massive losing streak doesn't sit incredibly well. Paddy, while he has finished people with his hands, isn't known as a knockout artist, so maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable with that. Should Tony still be fighting? Are they trying to kill him off? Are they trying to get Paddy a big win over Tony to get him back on track? I would say this. I think the answer to that last question is yes. I also think that they might not be doing Paddy any favors because of the fact that Tony is so beloved and because people feel somewhat uncomfortable with the idea of him fighting. If Paddy goes in there and absolutely annihilates Tony, I don't think he is going to generate new fans as a result of that performance and win. And so I think they're trying to make that happen, and I don't know if it happens if he does that. You know what I mean? Like, I think they're trying to build Paddy off of Tony, get him the win, goodbye Tony. If Tony loses this fight, I can't imagine he gets another fight in the UFC. But I think people will be so upset with the notion, if it's an uncomfortable fight, if it's a close one, he gets a close, hard-fought win, maybe it's different. But I don't know if he gets the rub like they're intending. It's going to steal all the headlines. That fight is going to be talked about as much as the main event, in my opinion. Is that a hot take? I don't think that fight is going to be of any lesser interest than any fight on that card. And I don't know where it's going to sit on the card, right?
Not a hot take at all. I feel like that is going to be the thing that people are coming for sure.
And just the reaction to the news, in large part because it came out of nowhere. No one was really talking about this, no rumors of this, would lead one to believe that, look, Dana on Tuesday night said that it was the perfect fight. I mean, I don't know by which metric. If it's by people talking, then yes, people are interested in this fight. If it's winning streak versus losing streak, that's typically not the case. I mean, historically, they try not to match winner versus loser, and that's winner of one versus loser of one, let alone winner of several versus loser of several. Doesn't usually go down that way, but, these are big names, and I don't know. I have mixed emotions. I don't have a serious, strong stance on this fight because there's a part of me that understands it. There's a part of me that doesn't like it. There's a part of me that gets what they're trying to do. It's a doozy. It's a conflicting one.
what is the part that you don't like? Like, what is the major objection? Because I think it's fair to say, I don't want to speak for Conor, but when we broke it down, we were kind of like, yeah, we get it. We're not as concerned for Tony. Like, what's the thing that's preventing you from diving all in on it?
It's very obvious what this fight is. They're trying to build Paddy off of Tony. Now, that's okay. Fights like that are
I was
made
going to say,
all the
is that
time.
necessarily bad?
No. That's like I
that,
said. That's okay. Fights like that happen all the time. It's extremely rare to have someone on a long winning streak fight someone on a long losing streak. Now, is this your typical case? No, because of the names involved, because Paddy hasn't fought in a year, because you can make a case that he lost his last fight, so he needs to get back on track. And so that's why, like I have to work through these emotions. I see some people saying this is criminal. I don't feel that. I see some people saying this is brilliant. I don't necessarily feel that. I'm just kind of in a gray area right now.
I think that's fair.
I think
that's very fair.
Am I protesting it? No. Do I hate it? No. Do I love it? No. It's just like, it's one that I didn't, shout out, I think it was AK Lee on Twitter back in December of last year, correct me if I'm wrong, who suggested this. I think other people may have as well. Shout out to those people. I didn't see this coming, and it kind of came out of nowhere. So I don't know.
My main thing with it is, like, after the Jared Gordon fight, I think a lot of people were kind of in the camp of like, maybe Paddy Pimblett's not that good. Maybe he's not as good as we thought. Like, then if that's how you're positioning it and that's how people feel, like, you can't be mad when he's fighting somebody like Tony Ferguson. Like, if you were one of those people who jumped off the train on Paddy when the Gordon fight happened, this is a fine step. Like, this makes sense.
Here's a fun exercise.
Yeah.
Paddy beats Tony, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Paddy will get the love that they think he's going to get by beating Tony. Do you understand what I mean?
That's interesting.
Here's the question, though. Tony beats Paddy. What happens?
Oh, it's all bets are off. Paddy instantly becomes like a Dylan Dennis-esque. Like, people will jump. And let me just say this. I think Paddy Pimblett is a much better fighter than Dylan Dennis in terms of MMA.
Yes.
But what I mean by that is people cannot wait to jump down his throat and dump on him. If that happens, he will become a punching bag in terms of MMA fandom. And Tony will people will be like, he's back. And I think people will rally behind it. It reminds me of, obviously, and I'm probably not the first to think of this, is Khamzat and Nate Diaz, but in the sense that I was more concerned that I think Khamzat can do some real, like, damage to the point where, like, the fight doesn't even need to be made. Whereas with this one, like, I think it could be competitive. Or maybe not. Maybe Paddy's able to take him down and sub him.
Nate Diaz made me way more uncomfortable than this one. I'm just saying, the pop, if Tony beats Paddy, given where they are right now in the fans' eyes, would be...
That's why I raised it, though, because I feel like Khamzat wouldn't have, like, been a huge hero for beating Nate Diaz.
Okay, I got your point. Yep, I got your point.
That was my point of comparison, because, like, I feel like you're right. I feel like there's kind of like an element of, like, we're not here for that. We were here for Tony to win, or we were here for Nate to win. And the more likely outcome ended up happening, and they didn't really get what they wanted. But I'm ultimately, like, really okay with this fight. I think it makes sense.
I'm okay with that stance as well. And the thing with Paddy and I feels like it happened so long ago at this point. I don't have any resentment in my heart. Like, he said some shitty things, but, like, I don't wish bad. I'm happy to see him back. When I was like, oh, it's good to have Paddy back. It's been a while. It's been almost, by the time this fight happens, it will be a year since his last fight. And, I'm curious to see how he looks and what he does. And this is a big opportunity. So, the uncomfortable nature of it all comes from, like, okay, where's Tony going to be at? And does he have one more night left in him? I just can't imagine the UFC keeps him around if he loses this one, right? So it's interesting. And perhaps in Dana's defense, a fight that brings out these kinds of emotions and this type of conflicting feelings, maybe that is the perfect fight. I don't know. But we certainly feel something, and we're all going to be talking about it, and it's going to steal all the headlines. And that's, by the way, a card that has 2 title fights on it and some pretty big names as well. Next up, Grant. Hi, Ariel. As you know, the Prograis-Haney fight was just announced for December 9th in San Francisco's Chase Center. By the way, once again, Matchroom, pound for pound, the best at producing promos. And again, Alex Hainsey, as Eddie Hearn called him on the show, he's leading the charge. I know there's a team. I don't know everyone's name on the team, but did you guys see that promo for Haney Prograis?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, it's just like banger after banger.
I'm subscribed to all things Hainsey after.
This guy is unbelievable. He's really
very, very high quality. Very, very high quality.
It was Wood Warrington. That was unbelievable. That one's October 7th. What was the next one?
The Monte Carlo one?
How could I forget the Monte Carlo? The Monte Carlo, the Wes Anderson was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Then you have this one.
Wood Warrington was like the Leeds
Nottingham Forest, everything.
They're all great.
Everything is just amazing.
It's a great fight, too.
It's a great fight. People were getting mad at me for saying that Haney's not shying away from the bigger. What about Shakur? I get it. Yes, I get it. Shakur would have been great. Loma rematch would have been great. But Haney's consistently going after the biggest fights possible. And, could he have run it back with Loma? Yes, perhaps. But he's with Matchroom now. And so I'm being somewhat of a realist. The build to that fight and the fight itself, I think, will be great. I know people feel strongly about it being a pay-per-view and not just being on the DAZN subscription. But I'm just talking about in a vacuum, that's a fun fight. And yes, it's at the Chase Center in San Francisco, which is cool for Haney because he's a Bay Area guy. Seeing this location made me wonder why San Francisco is never mentioned as a potential venue for the UFC, Grant says. Chase Center seems like the perfect spot for a fight night or pay-per-view, but I've never heard it being mentioned as a possibility. Is there a reason for this, or is it just because there are so many cities, countries for the UFC to go and San Francisco get lost in the shuffle? Yeah, to a degree. They haven't done a ton in California. They're dealing with places now that give them site fees, pay them to be there because they're such a hot commodity. They did do the event in Oakland, and the Chase Center is relatively new. It's just been a few years now, right? 3-4 years max, less than 4 years, I think. 2019 NBA Finals was the last year at Oracle in Oakland. I remember that because that's when the Raptors beat the Warriors in Game 6, and that closed down Oracle. And so and then of course it was the pandemic. So there hasn't been a ton of opportunity, but I can't imagine they don't go to this new state-of-the-art arena, and it's great to see a big event. Going to San Francisco, a place that used to, host a lot of big events at the Cow Palace. Shout out to the Cow Palace. Mike A. Lord Ariel, how likely do you think it is that Chimaev will get a title shot with a win over Costa, considering he appears to have visa issues, which precludes him from coming to the U.S.? Wondered if that would impact UFC decision-making. It's a question that I was wondering as well. I've reached out to him to come on the show before the fight. Well, who knows if that will happen? But that would be a big issue, and that would certainly be something that would stop him from getting a title fight. I don't even know if that's true, by the way. If it is true, then yes, it's a problem. If it's not true, if there is no, visa problem, then I think that he's going to get a title shot with a win over Paulo Costa, 100%. Hamzako Shakurai, Rick, the tension is palpable. How much of your disdain for metal face Frank is a shoot? It's so awkward. Feels like workplace flirting, sexual tension. In the early goings, you were chummy. What happened? Is this what happens when two comic book guys meet? I don't know what he's talking about. What tension? What is going on?
I don't know what he's talking about either. I don't know what metal face means. I don't know what any of that means.
What's the beef? I haven't noticed any beef.
Neither have I. I'll get back to that in a second. To this person, I would say, like, obviously this feels like projection, right? Like some kind of relationship in their life is not going the right way, and they're reading into it something that that's not there. I feel for you. I hope you find whatever you're looking for. But no, me and Frankie are good. I will question the fact that he selected this. So I wonder if maybe he's feeling that there's something happening here. But otherwise, no, this ship is as tight as it can be. I love everybody involved, and there's no beef with Frankie. I love him dearly.
Why did you select this? That is a good question. Did you select this because you too were wondering about any sort of tension, Frank? And
so I had
or
selected
are you
all of the
Hamzako
questions.
Shakurai?
You'll notice there's 12 on that list.
Yes.
I usually do 11. I showed this to Rick just as a hey, look at this. And he requested that I put it in.
Wow.
So he could
now
comment
the
on
truth comes out.
And now he's throwing me out of it. You know what? The beef lives on.
The beef lives on.
Who knows if that's even true? Obviously not. But yeah, I mean, no. Even with Frankie trying to like twist this and lie about it, I have no ill will
Classic.
toward Frank.
I think he selected the 11 questions, then he wrote this one to try to get to
Yeah,
the bottom
maybe
of the beef.
he's trying to figure it out. But Frank, I love you. Don't sweat it.
Did Damian Lillard get traded?
Yeah, to the Bucks.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, big time
Yeah.
stuff.
Get the fuck out of here.
Bucks are looking lethal.
Yeah.
Are you serious to
Bucks.
the Bucks?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
What?
Kept almost everyone.
What? Wait, Frank, breaking news music.
2021 Finals rematch, baby.
You're kidding me.
No.
Who did he get traded
No, for
for?
real.
Where was it? No one wanted to tell me in my
Holiday?
ear?
Drew Holiday was the main piece, and then there was some swaps of like not Ayton. Yes, Ayton? Yeah, the Suns were involved.
What?
Ayton and Nurkic. Yeah.
Okay, for those that are not up to speed, the Portland Trailblazers are trading guard, this from ESPN, guard Damian Lillard to play alongside Giannis with the Milwaukee Bucks as part of a 3-team deal that also includes a visa. Portland will receive Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, Milwaukee's 2029 unprotected first-round pick, and unprotected Milwaukee swap rights in 2028 and 2030. The Suns will receive Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. Sources told Woj. Deal comes after months. What did the Suns get? Oh, the Suns, okay. And Portland, okay, wow. And does Milwaukee just get Damian Lillard?
Yeah, just Damian Lillard.
Oh, I mean, I just wanted to know if they got anything else. What is? I mean, we have a resident super Suns fan, Shaheen Al Shadi, on the program.
He's not loving it. He's not loving it.
He doesn't love it.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think Ayton's probably pretty good and was worth more.
I like
Although they've
Nurkic.
been dangling him out
It
there
felt
for
like
years.
Aiden's time had come to an end in Phoenix. It felt like a weird.
Yeah, but they feel like the insert into this trade, right? It really feels like it's like
Yeah.
between Portland and the Bucks, and they're kind of just like in it. So I can't disagree with them there. But let's be real, like we're heading toward a Suns Bucks finals regardless. So
We are? You know
yeah,
these
you don't
things.
think so?
You know these things never pan out.
This one's gonna pan out.
Wow, could you imagine? What a story. Lillard tweeting at 3:27, the casuals won't be addressed, but the Trailblazers fans and the city of Portland that I love truly will be, and they will be addressed truthfully. Stay tuned, excited for my next chapter. Do you think he's happy about this?
Yeah, I think he's probably pretty happy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's a great
I mean, he's
thing.
been the-
By the way, if you're a Bucks fan, you're thrilled because this means Giannis isn't going anywhere, at least for now.
He also
Yeah,
got
I mean,
traded.
we have to
Like
see.
he didn't go and sign as a free agent.
We have to see the Giannis thing because he could still. There's no incentive for him to sign right now. He can wait, leverage this. Maybe he forces them to make more moves. This is kind of how LeBron has always handled it: is like put the leverage on the franchise and not give them the out of signing. So he could still do that and say, "Hey, I'm going to see this all the way to free agency." I mean, that's an MMA story that we talk about, right? Your leverage power is best at that opportunity. So I don't know if it's a foregone conclusion he signs that extension. I wouldn't be surprised either. From Dame's perspective, I get why he's like saying he doesn't want to address the haters because he's kind of been the no team up guy for a long time, and now all of a sudden he's teaming up with the best player in the NBA, which looks a little bit bad optically from
He
his
got traded.
perspective.
This is a great. I mean, what a duo.
Yeah, he
this
got
is.
traded, but after forcing his way out.
By the way, imagine thinking you're going to Miami, then you go to Milwaukee. With all due respect to Milwaukee, great town, but not exactly Miami in February, right?
I would rather play with Giannis than
Yeah.
3 different versions of the Heat. Like, not since LeBron and Wade left, is there a version of that Heat roster that I'd rather play with over Giannis? Like, this is the best possible thing for his career.
And so I'm just curious. Portland got Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, I guess that's better than what Miami was offering.
I think Portland just didn't want Tyler Hero. You know,
You know what? It's
And
nice in
they
Miami.
couldn't
Miami
find
gets
a
everything. All
partner.
right, they always get what they want. They got the great weather. They've got everything great. Great championships.
how do you feel about this? I hate it because now the East just got insurmountable, in my opinion. I don't love this.
Well, I'll say this. I love the fact that it happened pre-training camp starting. So now the NBA, it was a bit of a weird offseason with this kind of looming over it. So now it's finally resolved. Must-see TV whenever those two teams play now. I mean, let's not forget, we didn't really get
I
it.
meant from a Knicks fan perspective.
I'm
by
fine
the
with
way.
the Knicks. We're talking about Eastern Conference Finals. Book it. Zach Lowe said it
No,
himself.
definitely not. But also,
No, it's a
I will
fantastic
say,
squad. We didn't do a lot of wholesale changes. And by the way, can I introduce you to a young man named Dante DiVincenzo, the real X Factor? Come on. We've got
I
Villanova
like
East.
Dante DiVincenzo. The Knicks are not going anywhere this year, but it does maybe
Going further
open
than
door
the
for
Cavs.
Embiid.
Don't forget the last time we
Nah,
had this
definitely not.
discussion. We had this discussion, all right?
Yeah, look, it happened, and the mistakes were made. It won't happen again. Evan Mobley is going to be an MVP candidate pretty soon. So, in saying that, I think it does open the door for Embiid to the Knicks, though, because it feels like I would assume you're right that Giannis kind of stays put. Now maybe you throw all the chips in the middle now that Giannis is probably off the table and try and get Embiid.
I know people get so mad when we stray off topic, but this is something. Seismic. Wow. Fun. NBA needed a bit of a jolt. Premier League was kicking their butt, so this is good. This is good.
Also, this Dame thing was just carrying on too long. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah,
the
enough
saga
already.
was too much.
You know I got love for Dame Dalla. That's my guy
We
right
love
here.
Dame.
He's my guy right there. I got to change the jersey now. Dame in a Bucks uni. Wow, that's going to be weird.
Future NBA champion Dame Lillard.
That's going to be like Ray Allen going from the Sonics to the Bucks. Or was it the Bucks to the Sonics? Can't remember.
It was the other way. He was the Bucks first.
Yeah, then Sonics. That's right. Anyway, last one. Being Bobby, Sir Ariel, on last week's On the Nose, it made my day hearing my question being chosen as the last one for the day. I had the biggest smile on my face, only for you to immediately roast the almighty mysterious Frank for the quality of questions he chose. So I come to you again this week in hopes of meeting your lofty standards. Wow. What a buildup. What is your microwave style? Spam the 30-second button, enter the exact time, pull it out of the microwave before or after time runs out. I have a confession to make. Breaking news, Frank. I have not owned a microwave since 2015. How about that?
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, this is by choice, right?
So yeah, my wife feels like it is unhealthy. And when we go to my parents' house, I'm like, oh, this is so great. Just pop it in here. So anytime, so we have like a toaster oven and we kind of use that as the microwave and it kind of works. It's pretty quick. But it's annoying because you can't put the plate in there, right? You have to take it off. You got to put it on a thing with the foil and all that. Yeah. So I haven't enjoyed the luxury of a microwave in quite some time. How about that? What do you guys think? What are your thoughts?
I respect it. The whole
That's crazy to me, honestly.
the unhealthy part.
I
that's
believe
been
the
debunked.
unhealthy part. I mean, I can. Oh, it's not magnets, right?
It's just
We're-
magnets, man.
We were actually talking about this before the show today. We were talking about microwaves.
And what is the consensus that it's
I
not
honestly,
unhealthy?
This wives' tale that's like propagated since the 70s. It's weird that like I'll meet some people and they're like, oh yeah, it zaps all the nutrients out of the food. I'm like, that's not true.
But doesn't it like insert rays or some shit like that?
I can't even.
No, I don't know.
No.
I mean, can you have a word with my wife? It would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I am really curious. Where
So you're pro microwave.
No, I mean, look, you don't
I'm
want a
totally-
microwave.
I would love to have a
I'm not
microwave.
gonna shit on it.
By the way,
Okay, all right.
in the morning when I'm getting my kids ready for school and they want something quick, like I'd love to have a microwave. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've had a microwave my whole life.
It would be tremendous.
Blessed.
As did I.
We
Up until
we have a
2015.
microwave, but
Yeah.
my wife is like your wife and prefers not to use it when
There
she
you
can
go.
heat things in like the
Stephanie.
oven or on the stove.
Now, is that a
In fact,
a flavor preference? Like, I mean, because when you heat things in like the oven, it's gonna be better than the microwave.
The heating is more even and things like that, but no, it's more for the perceived nuking, the rays, the waves that go into the food.
Oh, okay, into the food, not into the air.
No. It's not about air quality. It's about the impact on the food.
I mean, it's literally just
In her perception,
molecules rubbing.
I don't
on each
really-
other.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm saying is study my body after I'm gone because I've
Wow.
microwaved thousands of food.
I'd be
No.
more concerned about drinking
Yeah, I
Prime
don't-
at this point than a microwave.
Whoa, bro.
I love for Prime.
easy,
Jeez,
easy,
Frank.
Frank.
What did they ever do?
Prime
to you?
cards coming up.
Sheesh.
man. Have some
Come on,
respect.
Frank. Sheesh.
You know what? Can I get a Glowberry on ice?
Yeah.
Go ahead and warm one up.
None
Here
for
it glows
Frank.
harder if you put it in the microwave.
Frank used to hoard all this stuff. What
Yeah,
the
geez.
hell?
And now he's, I mean, I couldn't look over without him seeing chugging a prime.
Energy. He's
ripping.
doing like the energy and the regular. He's freaking
He
all
used
over.
to shotgun a prime energy before the show started.
Unbelievable. this
You
guy.
were not supposed to tell him about that.
Now he's too good for it, huh?
By the way, I have a small bone to pick. So, okay, so microwave, I have. The one thing that's really annoying me, we're getting, we're getting more into this influencer boxing world, and it's all well and good. And one of my favorite accounts to follow is this Happy Punch account. But they do this thing every time, and we see right through it, and it's just like they do the thing where they steal the clip from the show, and then in the next tweet they do the via. Like, come on, guys, that's whack. That's why I'm calling you out. I support the cause. You signed Ben. I like what you're doing. I think I've even retweeted you a bunch. Stop with the next tweet bullshit. You just did it again. That's not cool. You're stealing content and you're not giving. Take all you want. I retweet people all day that take content from our show. Do I not? Give the proper credit. Don't do the next tweet thing. I'd almost rather you not do it at all than do the next tweet thing, because then it feels deliberate. If you don't do it, then I think, okay, maybe you'd slip your mind. I'll give you the benefit of that. Now it's like, oh, you're doing, why? Tell me why social media master New York Rick, why would someone do that? Why not just if you're willing to go the length of actually doing it, why not put it in the original tweet? Tell me.
The
Am I
thought
missing
behind
something?
it, yes,
Okay.
you are.
Okay, tell me.
The thought behind it is the linking out to original stuff or even crediting reduces the engagement than if you just post it as if it was natively. So
they're worried about
they're-
not getting enough traffic to the
Yes.
clip that they stole from us.
Yeah,
They want the
they're
initial
worried
post-
Their aggregation is not going to get enough likes.
Okay, interesting. All right,
they want the initial post to do really well, and they
Yes.
don't care about the throwaway credit. The problem with this thought process is, and I see it a lot, there's a lot of accounts doing it. It works to a certain degree. It works that those posts will do better. But what they're not accounting for is that they are still lowering the overall placement in the algorithm with like the follow-up tweets. Like those tweets doing absolutely nothing because all they are is a via or a tag. That hurts as well. So it kind of balances out. You're not really like hacking the system that well.
And it's also just kind of a shitty thing to do, no?
That's combined. That's on top of it. Like, obviously, we're putting that to the side for now and just thinking about why they're doing it motivationally. But then there's also the layer of like, yeah, you suck. Like, do better.
And let me be clear. They do a good job. They provide a great service. I'm still not sure. Is it a social media feed? Is it a management company? I like when they say they signed Ben, I don't know what that means. I'm still trying to figure all this out. But just give the problem, like you're stealing the content, you're putting the transcription, you're going through all this trouble. Let the people know where it's from. No, am I wrong?
They want the stuff to do well. The reason they're stealing it is because they want.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
they want the engagement.
They're
not stealing it to like help you.
No,
It's just the proper
you're
thing
not
to
wrong
do.
at all. But they're, man, I'd be surprised if they stopped.
I'm not trying to pick a fight.
But shout out.
Yeah, no.
They do
I mean,
great
there's no
stuff.
fight to be made. I mean, you're in the right here. Like,
They're gonna clip this out.
They're
and
gonna
the
clip
quote's
this
gonna
out.
be.
And
they do
Ariel's
great
going to be,
stuff. We
stop
love
being
them.
sensitive. Stop. I mean, like, ultimately, who the fuck cares? It doesn't really matter. But I just saw it just now. And I was like, really? It's the second thing. And there's people in media that do this all the time. They love doing this. That drives me nuts.
MMA Twitter is
Because there's no way that those
100%
people, like those reporters, those schlubby reporters, there's no way that they care about the engagement, right? They're just doing it because they don't want to give shine to the person who reported it first. The second tweet thing. And especially now that there's editing involved, like there's really no excuse for that.
Yeah, that's correct.
We spent too much time on this. Thank you to everyone for the questions. Thank you to moderator Frank. Thank you to our good friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. We love DraftKings Sportsbook because they are the official sports betting partner of not only this program, but the UFC as well. And of course, big Canelo Alvarez fight this Saturday. Place to be, DraftKings Sportsbook. Canelo Alvarez versus Jermell Charlo. Wow. What a fight. No UFC. First time in 17 straight weeks. Golly. No UFC this weekend, but don't worry. They will be back on October 7th. And October 7th is another busy weekend in combat sports. But for now, go to DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's upcoming fights, or this weekend's, football games, baseball in the home stretch as far as the playoffs are concerned. Bravos going to the postseason, yes. Blue Jays knocking on that door as well. So there's a lot to like. Obviously, the big Bills-Dolphins matchup. Frank, you ready?
Stoked, man.
It's a big one. 1 p.m. Orchard Park. And by the way, DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of two new offers every game day this September. That's football game days. Football is more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now. Sign up with the code TheMMA. Our new customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. It's with the code TheMMA Hour. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resorts in Kansas. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 and older. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expires 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Yeah. Thank you to DraftKings. And when we talk about DraftKings, we talk about our weekend picks. The Parlay Pals, GC, rolling along. What do we have in store for this weekend, guys? Not a ton to choose from, yes?
Yeah.
But there's still a little something for everyone. And don't get me started on this PFL Europe debacle. I mean, golly, how are we
going
not
to have a stream?
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I don't.
How are they going to do my man Cedric like this? This is
My understanding is that it has
I'm
to do
upset.
with broadcasters and who has the rights to
I don't
PFL
care what it
here
has
in
to do with.
America. It's just a shame because it's a great card. And as you said, our guy Cedric Doumbé, or your guy, our guy, who knows?
We can all claim him. Listen, the
long
bandwagon's open.
But it's a solid card. I mean, the PFL Europe cards, in my opinion, are just as interesting because they have these fresh names and matchups and people that we, keep hearing about, and we can't watch this. This is crazy. And by the way, it would have been the only major MMA card of note this weekend. Like the whole freaking spotlight would have been on them. Cedric Doumbé on there, Abduragumov, who's a big fan favorite, 16-1. What do they call him? What's his nickname? I know his nickname. Everyone calls
that the
him
Lazy
the Lazy
King guy?
King. Yeah. People love the Lazy King. Simeon Powell, Dakota Dicheva. I mean, it's a little something for everyone here, and we can't see.
Luigi Vendramini?
Yeah, we can't see any of it. So it's a bit Franz Malambo. So yeah, very
Yeah, they also don't have odds on DraftKings Sportsbook.
FFS.
Yeah. Week off for the old Parlay Pals.
Oh, okay. No one told me this.
I know. We realized that mid-show. We were like, oh, yeah, we forgot to tell Ariel about it.
Okay. Week off for the Parlay Pals.
Yeah.
But we do have some exciting news.
We do.
By the way, you could have just slacked me this.
I decided, it'd be nice to have this moment.
Egg on the face? All right. You guys deserve the break. We do have some exciting news, my friends. Frank, do we have breaking news? I feel like we should have gone to the breaking news music, and then this is kind of a different breaking news song.
It breaks.
All right, friends, we've been teasing this. New York City, UFC 295 weekend. There's a lot to like, as Dana White said himself. A lot going on. He mentioned King Callum Walsh competing on the Thursday at the theater. He mentioned Bill Burr Friday, MSG. He mentioned, of course, John Jones, Stipe Miocic. Double main event, dare I say. We've added a new one to the vernacular. Yuri Prochazka prepare for the vacant light heavyweight title. What he failed to mention, my friends, is that for the first time in the illustrious history of this program, 2009 it dates. 2009, that means 14 years plus we've been doing this. First time in our history. We are doing an episode of the Mixed Martial Arts Hour in front of a live audience. Yes, indeed, it is true. November 10th, New York City, right here. God's country, Manhattan. This fantastic borough will host our very first live in front of an audience. I don't want to say live episode of the MMA Hour because every episode is live, as you know. Live in front of an audience episode of the MMA Hour. Now, it goes down November 10th, the night before UFC 295, at a place called City Winery NYC, 6:30 p.m. Tickets are available right now. Tickets are available right this second. That's where you can get them. citywinery.com/New York. Tickets available right now for this live show that will feature myself, GC, New York Rick, Mysterious Frank, Crypto Joe, Corporate Alex, the whole crew, Andy back in the mix as well. And of course, it's not an MMA hour without special guests. We will have multiple special guests. Fighters will be in attendance. There will be a meet and greet. There will be giveaways, all that and more. It's going to be a great time. So November 10th, November 10th is in a bit over a month and a half away. It's going down in New York City at a great venue on the west side of Manhattan. I believe it's 15th and 25th, all the way on the west side. The website is citywinery.com, C-I-T-Y, winery, winery.com/New York. Tickets are pretty cheap. Live show. You'll get the full bells and whistles. You'll get in-person interviews. You'll get some giveaways, and you'll get some meet and greets as well. Tickets on sale right now. You go to that link, and that's where you get it. So if you're in town for UFC 295 and you want something to do on the Friday night, we got you covered. Right after the ceremonial weigh-ins, you come to us, a few hours. I've done some of these before. I've done them for ESPN back in the day. We did one with the Ringer last year. First time I ever get to do it for the MMA hour, and that is the granddaddy of them all. And I'm very excited about this. And I'm excited about the guests that we are talking to. Can't quite announce them just yet, but we've got some things planned, and I'm excited about the names who are in the mix at the moment. Gents, what do we think? How do we feel about this? This is a big deal. I'm very excited.
This is news to me.
Okay, perfect. Are you free that day?
Yeah, I'll make sure.
No beard appointments, nothing like that.
TBD.
I'm
I
hyped,
am
man.
stoked.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, how excited can you get? I'm so excited about this big announcement. I mean, we've been sitting on this news
For a
for
while.
a while now. I mean, it's been months. Before the show this morning, headed up to old Times Square. I hacked one of the cameras. We now have a live footage. Go ahead now. Live footage from Times Square. There it is.
Wow.
Look at that. Kind of dark up in Times Square. It must be cloudy or something. But
Cold
yeah,
day today?
Cold
It's a little
day.
nippy.
Everyone in jackets. I mean, it looks fantastic. Everyone there. You can see the
Wow,
reaction. You can
we
see the
got-
buzz.
wow.
And there it is. Say hello to the people,
Wow.
Ariel. Go ahead and let them know. I mean,
This is-
how good does he look?
This is a dream come true. Hello, New York, my good people, my adopted home. Wow, the bright lights of Broadway. This is an honor right here. What should I do? What should I say? Can I give New York the old? No, I would never do that to New York
No,
City. I
don't do
would
that.
never
Don't do
do
it.
such a thing to New York City. Wow, this is incredible. How did you pull this off? Tell me.
Like I said, man, I know people in high places. Out there
Wow.
before the show today, set something up. I mean, that is live.
This feels like
living
live
color.
X. It's up to you, New York. Wow, you cut me off there in the middle of the song? That's weird. I won't keep singing as a result.
Yeah. I mean, I'd assume tickets are now going fast. Everybody in Times Square whipping out their phones.
Yeah. This is great. Live show, all the bells and whistles, special guests. Tremendous.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. Nice intimate setting. It's gonna be good.
I'm told tickets are being sold right now. They're watching them fly. Citywinery.com. Not that many seats. It's an intimate venue. So if you want to get in, you want to meet the guys, you want to meet GC, you want to meet Rick, you want to meet Mysterious Frank. Frank, what are you going to wear? Because you're going to be out with the people. Are you going to wear a luchador mask? How are you going to keep your identity mysterious?
If I'm there,
You know, it'd be funny
I will just come out and meet them.
if you're just in the back and no one knows who you are, right?
Right.
I feel like
Or
some of the hardcore
or we
fans.
just have 5 people sitting at the audio booth,
Yeah.
but no one knows which one is the real Mysterious Frank.
Let's. Can I drop it in the chat for the chat? Citywinery.com/ what is it? / New York.
I'm gonna give a little separate link that we can do.
Oh,
That's gonna be
Do we have
cleaner.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I made a custom link.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
oh yeah, because
links.
that doesn't
Speaking
take
of
you.
hacking,
Yeah, that doesn't take you to like the actual. You got to look for it, huh?
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
about to,
try that.
Let's see. Wow, how did you do that so quickly?
Don't worry.
Wow.
Don't worry. Come on.
Copy
Shout out to
and paste.
Bitly.
Shout out to Frank. They don't pay. We can't. We can't do
Don't
that.
shout out to Bitly.
I mean, does
But
it
if they want to
say-
pay, if they
does
want
it
to,
say
come
Bitly?
give us.
Yeah, it does. What's wrong with that? I like the good folks at Bitly. Oh, when I put in the link, you can't click on it in the chat. Sorry, guys. I tried to help you out in the chat. I'm trying to show love to the chat. Okay, I'm trying to endear myself to the people, but it didn't work. It doesn't make it. It doesn't make it like a blue thingy, a clickable link.
Well, it's going to
Thoughts
be
on
all
it?
over social.
Join
It's
us
gonna
there.
Be on Twitter.
Yeah,
It's gonna
it'll be
Instagram.
on social. Don't
All right,
worry.
all
You'll be able to
Copy
find it.
I was just
From
trying.
now on, I guess we'll have it in the description. in the
I was
bio.
trying to give the chat the dibs, the first look. All right. All right. I'm very excited about that. That's November 10th, the day before UFC 295. So if you're in the area, go check it out. It's going to be great. No picks. That's fantastic. That means we could go home.
I do have one, but it's
Oh.
from last week. It's the Richardson Hitchens Canelo Alvarez parlay.
Oh yeah, is this going to be the breakout clip? This right here.
Please, God, no, please.
This is so uninspired.
Yeah, that's all I got.
There it is. Okay, so one leg down, one to
One
go.
leg down, one to go.
And what is it?
That's all I got.
Canelo money line?
Canelo money line.
There it is. Canelo, Charlo, Jim Lampley in the house.
Great fight.
What a time. Yeah, pretty much the only thing going on Saturday. Because even if you do find a PFL Europe viewing situation, that's during the day because it's in Paris. So, all right, enjoy all of that. Back Monday. No Jewish holidays, no vacations. We're back. And the train
There is a
rolls along.
holiday this weekend, right?
Yeah, Sukkot. Happy Sukkot to all my good friends out there celebrating. You're supposed to eat in a little thing, a man-made hut. It's fantastic. You
What
gonna
is
do
it
that?
made out of?
It's made out of tree branches and things. It's like you're supposed to eat it outside for 8 days. It's a great time.
Are
There's
you
an
gonna
etrog, there's a
participate, or-
lulav. I've been invited to a few sukkahs, so I might partake. Yeah, I don't make my
Sounds
own.
like
I don't build my own. It's too much work. I'm not that handy. Sorry, Frank. You can hit our music.
Oh, it's our music now.
Yeah, it's always been our music.
I mean, every episode it's hit my music.
Has it been?
Yeah.
I don't think that's accurate. The
Okay.
look of love is in. Oh man. I do appreciate. Thanks for the Tylenol, guys. My back was hurting, but you power through. I've been in situations where you feel like crap. You say, "How am I going to stick around in this chair for 4+ hours?" And then the red light comes on right over there, and you just get rolling.
Hey, you just turned on all of a sudden.
It's just one of those things, right?
And then when we had to take our little tech break, you wanted to stay on. Like, man,
Oh, yeah.
stretch for a second.
Well, initially I was worried that the whole Jim Lampley interview did not air. So,
we made
so
sure
my
that aired.
heart went all the way down to my toes. Then when I was assured that it did air, I felt much better about the situation. But what a stretch of interviews here on today's program. I mean, Stephen Thompson, fantastic stuff. December 16th. Much love to the chat. Actually, not to everyone in the chat. There's some mean people here, I see. What's up with these guys? Anyway,
defending me.
Jim Lampley, great stuff from him. Go check him out on ppv.com this weekend. Canelo Charlo, Johnny Eblin, congrats to him on the big win this past Saturday. Alex Pereira, going to be amazing. Good luck to him. And of course, Logan Paul, good luck to him on October 14th. Hopefully against Dylan Dennis. Back next week, same time and place. Until then, I say, peace.